Greatness at track number 9. Stay on the right track and let your light shine. Step by step, reach for what's true. Track number 9. Your greatness is waiting for you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to track number 9. I am your host, Monica Cooper. And yes, I'm extra shiny today. I have a lot of Vaseline on my face. I still believe, like my mother used to put it on my face. Good morning, Miss Joyce. I used to get greased down in the morning. My mother put a lot of Vaseline on my face. So because it's so cold, I have extra shine. I put extra Vaseline on. It is bitter cold out there. So before we even start, we want to just say a prayer for all of the people who are out there who are unhoused, and whether it be because of drug addiction, whether it be because of mental health, whatever it is, it's people are dying in this weather, and nobody deserves to die in the cold unhoused. So I just want to lift that up. I'm hoping that we can get our special guest. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Gail. Hey, Gwen. I'm hoping that we can get. Oh man, my man Darnell here. Darnell always say I'm ready to cry. And today's subject is one of those subjects, man. That Good morning, Miss Dorothy. It'll make you want to cry with everything that we as a black community have been through. It's enough to make you want to cry. And of course, this is
Good morning,
Black
Monica.
History Month. Okay, good. We got our guy on here. But this is Black History Month, and it's a time, and it's a celebration and an acknowledgement for the things that African Americans have contributed to this society. You know, whether it's the stoplight, the ironing board, and the reason why there has to be a month. It used to be Negro Week. It was started by Carter G. Woodson, and it eventually turned into a month. But let me turn this phone off just for a minute. Sorry about that, guys. But it had good morning, Miss Nadine. It turned into Black History Month. And it is a month that's set aside so that the acknowledgement of the contributions to this great society that we live in, because it is a great society. We have our ills, we have our things, but God has blessed us in so many ways. All of the inventions, everything you see, none of this happens without the permission of God. And you know, I always bring God here. We don't separate church and stay here. Amen. I'm a God fan sister. So God is always going to be in our conversation. And when we look around and we turn on a light, that's because of God. When we can go outside and have our stew in a crock pot where you don't have to watch it. You can put that bad boy on a timer and you come back and the doggone meat is nice and tender. That is from an invention. It had to be in somebody's mind. But for me, nothing comes to fruition and nothing happens without the aid and assistance of our Lord and Savior. So when we think about all the things that's happening around us, we just have to think like it must be God is trying to tell us something. In other words, get on the right track. That's what he's telling you. Get yourself together, because human beings over time have been through a lot, whether it comes with having wars with each other, whether it comes from religious persecution, whatever it is. That's the human existence. So we will get past it. But this month right now, hey, Patrice Bimbo in the house, this month right now is for all things black. All things black. And that is something that always make me happy, because I don't ever want people to have contributed something and they get ignored, or somebody trying to erase their history. Good morning, Brother Robert. Somebody trying to erase their history. Like right now, all things Martin Luther King have been removed from all of the parks. All things that talk about slavery have been removed from the books. And it's sad for America, not just black, but also white people. There are Caucasian people that I had talked about, that I learned about when I was in prison. learned about the contribution of the Quakers up and down the Susquehanna River, going all through Queens Anne County, down there where our sister Harriet Tubman started that freedom. She was here in Maryland. She was here, right here in Maryland. She was here in Maryland when she started that. When she brought that pistol out and say, "Look, you can get your behind up the road, or we're gonna take you down right here." But yeah, so that's where we at, and we got a special guest in here to talk about not just Maryland, but right here in Baltimore. There have been so many places where we lived, and the people who lived in those houses, like right here where I'm from Sandtown, West Baltimore, and they got these houses right on McMeekin and Druid Hill Avenue, and we had freedom fighters that lived there. Thurgood Marshall lived here. Billie Holiday lived here. In some of them same houses. Good morning, Aaron. In some of them same houses we living in now. Shock Tower. They had the slave trade coming right up and down, and we running to the subway trying not to be late for work, and not realizing that our feet, where we treading at, where we walking at. Hey, brother Joe Richards is here. Where we walking at, it used to be our forefathers. So today we have a brother in the house that oh man, this guy, he always called me cousin. And I'm saying, cousin, yeah, we cousins, we all related in some kind of way, but he let me know that everybody in Black Baltimore came by way of this one community. And I want y'all to learn about that today so that you can trace your own roots. Hi Tasha, how you doing, Miss Bennett? So that you can trace your own roots right here in Baltimore, your own roots right here in Baltimore. Everybody came by way of this one community. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna introduce my guest. My guest is the executive director of God's Best Family, a wonderful nonprofit doing work with our children, with our babies, getting our children off these streets, keeping them out of prison, keeping them out of caskets. Brother's doing great work. But even bigger than that, he has a heritage and a lineage in the Sharp Leadenhall community that you wouldn't even can't even imagine. And I don't have my tissues with me, but the subject is, yeah, I do. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta have it today because the subject is so close to me. Because I absolutely love, hey Miss Madison, how you doing, Michelle Madison? I absolutely love being black. It is such a beautiful thing. It's never been a badge of dishonor for me. My big lips, my big nose, I love every inch of it. And I thank my parents and my father. When I used to tell my father I love you, he used to say, I love you right black. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I love you right black. And we got people bleaching their skin because they don't want it, they want to be lighter. We have people who put umbrellas up because they don't want their skin to get too dark. And of course, and just talking about historical facts, you have the brown bag society. If you put that brown bag up to your face and you're not lighter than that brown bag, then you can't hang out with us. We had the beautiful, incomparable Lena Horne, who looked like a beautiful Caucasian woman. She had to pass. Dorothy Dandridge, absolutely gorgeous. She had to pass and had to live in a world that just wasn't accepting of brown skin, full lips, big nose. But I love it. So I'm here to speak to the brother about it. And I want y'all to know because all of us come from there. Every one of us here in Baltimore, that all of us come from there. So let me say good morning to Mr. Terrell Brooks. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
How are you?
Chilling.
You
You know,
chilling? Okay, make sure you speak up because I want to make sure that I don't want the folks to
I got
miss
you.
uh to
I
miss
got
one word of what we saying. But the first thing I want to ask you is where is Sharp Leadenhall?
you. Oh, Sharp Linton Hall is in South Baltimore, the great South Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, it changed over some time, but it's right there and right by the Raven Stadium, Academy Yards Convention Center. It kind of sits in the bubble or in the
Mm-hmm.
circle of those things. So let's say Conway Street down to Austin Street. And that's South Baltimore, Shopland Hall, that's that area, which is known now as Audubon on one side, kind of to the north side. It's kind of Audubon.
Okay, I'm gonna say good morning to brother Johnny Jones from Living Classrooms. My sister Cheryl Ward from California. She tuning in from California. Living Classrooms at Johnny Jones and his folks down there doing some good work. But you had mentioned the demographics of the area. But I know that when you and I had looked at the schematics of things, when you think about it, this community was established. What year was it that it was established here in Baltimore for free black people?
Oh, the early 1700s. So the community, definitely 1600 was indigenous people, right? Marshlands, wetlands, and so forth. When before the city was established, then Shopland Hall was established. This was the only place that they had free slaves or free people. And when that was kind of 1700s in the mid 1700s. So that area existed. I mean, really, that was the only place you can go,
Mm-hmm.
was that area. And it was based on that it's close to the rail, being a railroad, potentially in the harbor, and written on that there was a lot of trading and selling slaves kind of at that time. So this community alone was the area of free slaves, the free people, the freedom land, if you want to call it.
Oh, the Freedom Lab. Okay, I want to say good
Freedom
morning to Dr. Heather Lamb. Dr. Heather Lamb is working to help returning citizens build businesses. She's tuning in this morning. We have people who tune in and watch this show that are full of resources. She gives a wonderful class for returning citizens and helping them to build their own businesses. But I want the listeners to imagine the inner harbor. Now you go down there, you ice skate, and you go down to Baltimore's inner harbor. It used to be, and it's about to be one of our landmarks again, where we have a lot of tourism. People come there. I grew up going to the inner harbor. They used to have the city fair actually used to be down there at the inner harbor. And like the brother had mentioned, that's where they sold and traded slaves right here in our Baltimore inner harbor. In fact, what's that ship they have that sits down there? I don't think it's called the Pride of Baltimore, but when I was in elementary school, they took us on a trip to this slave ship that was inside A. LaShawn Gibson. They took us to this ship that was, and I was like in the second grade. Hey, Shantae Perry, I was in the second grade, and they took me down to the inner harbor. It was this big ship, and it was a slave ship, and we went down in the ship. I still remember now that I'm talking about it. You know how sometimes you have memories that you just forget. But now I'm remembering that they used to take us to this slave ship that was in the inner harbor. Do you remember the name of that ship? Was it the USS Constitution?
It
Oh, it
was
was the Constellation. I knew Tasha Bennett knew. That's what it was. It was the Constellation. The Constellation was a slave ship that sat right here in the harbor. I'm a little up in age, but I ain't that old. In my lifetime, I was able to walk on USS Constellation onto a slave ship right here in Baltimore City. Downtown where the brother is, hey Justin, downtown where the brother is talking about this slave ship. So I really want us to imagine none of those buildings were there. None of that stuff, none of it was there. All of that was water. And I think when me and Mr. Brooks had looked at some demographics, that Sharp Leadenhall, how far did it come up?
it went past, so it went down to like Pratt Street. It went
Mm-hmm.
down to Pratt Street. It went over to what we kind of call Russell Street now.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of went over to Russell Street and went down to Austin Street and around Montgomery Street, Lee Street, Bird Street. You pick a street. It was the like it was. I mean, literally, it stretched a pretty significant way. And I'm assuming, right, when
Mm-hmm.
you look at this, just some of the conversations from my grandmother now of how the community was surrounded by plantations.
Mm.
they were surrounded by plantations in that community.
Mm.
So you could easily slip into the hands of a slave owner, even though you was free, and be auctioned or sold at the inner harbor. Like
Wow.
that could happen.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like if the slave ships are here, then yeah, you got plantations all around because again, you got buildings now. There has been unfortunately discoveries of ancient African burial grounds. I know up in New York City, they found out that underneath of where they were, it was where they had buried former slaves. I believe Central Park. Central Park was one of those communities, slave communities that they had end up burying. And then some people are so wicked that they put these whole communities underwater. They have lakes and rivers and tributaries on top of where black communities used to be. So sometimes when people say, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, our brother Dr. Martin Luther King said, how are you going to say that to a bootless man? So when I think about our journey here, I think about we are walking miracles. You have civilizations of people who did not survive: the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Romans. I mean, you name it. That in since we study in history and looking at all of the human beings that came, some people say God just got sick of them and got rid of them. I hope he don't get sick of us. We doing pretty bad. I say, God, don't get sick of us yet. He destroyed it by water. He destroyed it by, different things. He just take them out. But then you have, of course, human beings themselves who can be so wicked that they want to take out a whole civilization. They want to take out all the people. So that's what this kind of remind me of is that Sharp Leadenhall is a community that they done just brushed all over. Nobody would know that unless it's people like you who have the history, you and your family, y'all have books. Y'all have the history, your lineage. Y'all can trace it back to our brother Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Y'all know the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, and everybody that's related to Frederick Douglass, who was another Baltimorean that people look over. We go down to living classrooms. My man Johnny Jones is here. Brother Kareem, another good dude. My man work with living classrooms. They have down there. They have the Myers. I think it's called the Myers Douglas Museum off that water. But when I go down there, it's a bunch of cobblestones, and it's hardly any black people in that area. I
And
would.
think of this, Monica. Think of this, right? Think of this. In that early 1700s, right? Just if we can just kind of just picture, right? Early 1700s in Baltimore City, kind of the city wasn't even established yet, right? In the early 1700s, Baltimore City wasn't established until the late 1700s. I'm thinking. Um, but think of this: the first African American school, high school, in Sharp Hall. The first Black Methodist Church, Sharp Hall.
Mm.
So when you think of all those things, and we say, "Hey, we cousins," because if you could trace your family back, and what they call it is those great great grandmothers and those things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have no other place to go but that area. Like it wasn't no other area you could go to. Not saying that they didn't span upon over west or east eventually, but first you started there because we down there in Sharpland Hall, we had the hubs of this education, we had the hubs of protection because we had the church and all
Okay, I think we lost our brother for a little bit. He'll be back to join us. Hey, my man Marlo Hardgrove, he just joined us. Hey Marlo, he works with the Face organization, another organization that's doing absolutely wonderful work. We got a viewer from Groove City, Cambridge. We got a brother all the way from Cambridge. Now, speaking of Cambridge, last week I told y'all that we are going down there. Frederick Douglass' birthday. He would be 208 years old. And in a rim of ancestors, we look like this. Our ancestors never leave us. My mother left me in 2009, but she has never left me. She's always with me. All of my dreams, all of my accomplishments, everything. My mother's right there with me. sometimes I do some stuff. I be like, I hope my mother not looking. I can show off sometimes. I'll be cursing and carrying on, and I hope my mother not looking at me, man. But she's with me always. So the brother, 208 years old, and at this celebration down there on the Eastern Shore, they asking everybody if you wear. Oh, he's back. Hey, brother. But they're asking everybody to wear African garb, or it's a gala, or you can kind of dress up. It's $85. We put it in there last week. If you're interested in going, info at Maryland Justice Project. We've already got a 15 passenger van. We're trying to at least fill that bad boy up. I'm going down there. I was telling my friend, I said, I'm on the thick side. They might need a lot of African garb to cover me up. Maybe 30 feet, boy. But it's all good.
So,
Stop.
So like urban slavery, right? Like, I think people don't talk about that enough. The urban slavery of things. Understanding what urban slavery look like and or is, right?
You say urban slavery.
Urban slavery.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure a lot of these smart folks that's on here know what it is. Me and you, we just learning more about urban slavery because it wasn't taught to us. Just thinking of the urban slavery, it's kind of like it wasn't like the plantation slavery. Urban slavery was, I'm gonna be the slave, Mom, so because I don't want you to be the slave. So
I don't want to be the slave.
I know. So like I'm living next door to you or in the same house with you, and I'm the slave and you free. But we could be in the same house. We could be on the same block. We could be walking past each other, and it's like, hey, you can't really go hang with us because I'm free. And however, again, those churches and those things, those entities that's in the community and Sharpland Hall community played a vital part to help people get paperwork to buy their freedom. Because if we didn't have those things, they wouldn't be able to buy their freedom. So, we made a joke about when you think of mom and them saying, hurry up, get home before the lights cut on. Man, we all heard that before, right? I'm sure we all heard it. It's made me think of it. Absolutely, they had to get home. Absolutely, they had to get home before the lights cut off or the lights came on down there before it got dark, because you were surrounded by slave owners, plantation. They call them jail pens. Yes, the pen, the jail, whatever you want to call it. But those things were surrounding that community. So of course, now you got the church. When they say, "Oh, the church was open all day, all night," well, it had to be, because imagine how many people was coming through there trying to be free and kind of just hiding out there. So to your point, like the Quakers and all those things, the slave plantation, or I don't even call it plantation, a Houghton cell pen. That's the one that was on Martin Luther King and Pratt Street in that corner. Mr. Austin, probably Norfolk or something like that. His name was, but he kind of like was vicious.
Oh yeah, Austin Woodfolk. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he was kind of vicious owner, and he was trading slaves. So if he was kind of marching down Pratt Street, cutting into Sharpland Hall, and I kind of look over there to the right and see a couple kids or something, I could just easily grab them and send them to Louisiana with no problem. Who's going to tell anything? Who's going to say anything? So you got to understand that in this urban slavery, 17,000 free slaves was in Sharpland Hall. Free people, 17,000. This is a money magnet right there, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can walk past here and kind of grab somebody and sell them. I don't know what they sell them for. I'm at Lexington Market right there. All those things is right here. That Sharpland Hall area kind of played a big role in Morgan State University, right? A lot of those folks came from there, from that community, and they kind of ventured out. But everyone, this is the only land you had to come to anyway. You couldn't go nowhere else because it still was plantation heavy throughout the city.
Yeah, that's why I had mentioned that everybody that's black in Baltimore most likely can trace their heritage back to Sharpland Hall, because that was the only place where your forefathers arrived and was sent to on from that slave ship. And that was the only place you were able to eventually migrate to East Baltimore, West Baltimore, and wherever else you further west. But like the demographics of it is that Sharp Lettenhall came all the way up to where West Baltimore is now.
The old
Martin Luther King, and he had mentioned a guy. Let me see if I can show this to y'all. This guy right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this guy right here, his name is Austin Woll Folk, Wool Folk, and he was one of the worst and most horrible slave owners right here in Baltimore. The domestic slave trade. Austin Wool Folk was actually one of the leaders, and the brother mentioned that right there at Martin Luther King and Pratt was what was that, one of their holding cells, one of their places where they had pens.
It was one of their pens right there. So you kind of had that pen right there on that corner. Mm-hmm. So we think how far Sharp Lettenhall stretched, and then there's a pen right there. So now it's like, well, I see why they wanted to hurry up and get home. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
they don't want to get snatched up. You get snatched up, and people never see you again.
Yes. So those were the things you could think of like the spots where we didn't have cemeteries for blacks.
Mm-hmm.
So we could honestly say right now we do some research where the stadium, where Hamburg Street Bridge is, of that parking lot for Ravens Stadium, all those things. Imagine how many people are buried under there.
Mm.
Just imagine how many our people are buried right there. So when I was a kid, Mama say, "Hey, this is the motherland." My grandmother always say, "This is the motherland, baby. Take care of the motherland will take care of y'all." When we kind of walked around Henrietta to Sharp Street, she said, "This is a sacred place."
Mm.
And I never knew what she was talking about. I was a kid until I started doing more research, and it was like, it's a sacred place based on that people were buried here.
Mm.
These buildings, some of this stuff is buried over top of them.
Mm.
So we have to take a moment of silence when we walk through there now. And again, those things are not taught to us. Right? It's not taught that, hey, that church is still there. On Shaw Street Methodist Church is still there.
Praise God.
It's still there. It's still standing. So all the stuff that they were doing, that church still standing. We are still standing today right here in that community. So I love my community. And, you know, that I fight for my community all the time. So I don't know. It's just very interested in some of those things.
Yes, sir. I think one of the things that I would like the viewers and the listeners is to juxtapose. You got two positions here. You have 17,000 free black people living what is now called South Baltimore, and then around them they have this guy Austin Woolfolk that's into slave trading. So if you go out your house, you know, you go 2 blocks over to the left, you don't want to be over there because that's where they're snatching people up and putting them back into slavery. Because it's crazy, because even when you were able to buy your freedom, because the people in Baltimore, they were the largest free population throughout the United States. Throughout all of the slave states here in Baltimore, they had the largest population of free people. And everybody understood that Baltimore was the place to be. Everybody say, I'm going on up north, you know what I'm saying? But also people were trying to get here to Baltimore because they knew they had a place where they could be free in that one community. But check it out. You got free people right here, and then you still got enslaved people around you. And that's almost how it feels today. It feels like we are free, but yet not free. We free, but we still fighting some of the same fights and some of the same stuff that we was fighting in the 1800s. And even with the current like policies and stuff that we see, calling people monkeys and putting all that stuff out there, that's crazy. That's the same thing that our forefathers used to see many years ago. It's almost like they're going back to the playbook of the slave, the playbook of how do we keep these people enslaved. So the progress that African Americans make in this country, it always seemed to be met with resistance. if you vote a black man in as president, then you're going to get resistance. If you make you got the Winter Olympics, man, they got this sister. Her name is Erin. She a beast on the ice. She dark as 20 midnights, and I love it. She dark as 20 midnights. I love every bit of it. And she wicked on that white piece of ice. And when you have people that's joining Winter Olympics, or if you get black people into hockey, it's met with resistance. So it's still the same thing. There was a resistance for us to be free. People actually had a war. They say free the slaves. They was like, no, for what? I'm making money. Why would I free the slaves? And then the people said, because that's against God. We don't care enough about God. We're making money. So there is a resistance to your freedom always. So I always just encourage people, keep up the good fight. All white folk ain't bad. I got some pretty good allies. But I always tell people, all my white allies have the spirit of John Brown, period. When I say go, we go. We not them TGF boys, the train to go boys, them little bad boys. But we are a group of people, black, white, Asian, whatever. We're a group of people that understand that God intended for human beings to be free.
Yeah, yeah, and you see that like once you start locking in to it, one of the folks on there said like stuff we wasn't taught in school, right? A lot of stuff we wasn't taught in school because again, why would we teach you anything that's going to help you overcome our throne? Because what happened is, we talk about now, how do we build our empire within this organization, right? One of the things that we working on now, right? And we feel though sometimes we behind the eight ball. But what I can assure you is that we are here, these platforms like this track number 9 is that blessing right now to kind of get that message out there. Because now if we can travel and do a tour, all those things in Baltimore City, sometimes we might be disgusted by some of the stuff that we see and heard of and all those things. I mean, they're not talking about the public or mob lynchings that Lily was right here. None of those things we're kind of having conversations about, right? I mean, I understand, respectfully, rest in peace, Brother Martin Luther King. But all of the things we talked about was we had a dream.
Yeah.
That's it. He didn't talk about some of the other stuff that he said. Right. So I mean, when I was coming up, I always I went to school in Cherry Hill, 163 elementary. And my teacher, Miss Jones, always kind of called me her Nat Turner. And I didn't know until I moved into South Baltimore, like back down here. And it was like, oh, and they told me that I couldn't be Nat Turner for Black History Month. I had to pick one of the other people. And I was like, why? Like, and they didn't allow me to be Nat Turner. Even though we did, but like those things, it's like we have to be very careful on just knowing like some of the stuff that the trickery that's still going on around, trying to hold us mentally down. So like, how do we get our kids to understand that they had purpose, right? How do we understand like sometimes you got to chase your purpose and not paper? Those things is very important. But so like Monica, like we really have to like keep pushing on that because our family, like, I mean, we can think of all the things they went through right here, and just Sharpland Hall alone, it was deep, right? And again, that thing right there, like, remember they said like Maryland still was considered the South. That's what they almost called it, right? Maryland still was kind of the South. Imagine if Maryland still looked at it as the South. You got this land, this neighborhood that's free slaves. So it's like, oh yeah, it's the South. But then I got this neighborhood that's where all these free slaves at. And are you gonna imagine how many people probably hated that?
I'm sure it was with a lot of challenges. But I want to get back to the idea of urban slavery. That I know that's something that many people probably I never knew about urban slavery. And I know what made it unique was that people were able to actually work themselves out of slavery. Was that part of it? Like the hiring out system. Tell us about how the slave was able to work himself right out here in Baltimore out of that.
I'm gonna read this right. Urban slavery in Baltimore was fundamentally different from plantation slavery. Enslaved and free people lived in the same neighborhoods, worked the same docks, shopped at the same markets. That changed everything. The hiring out system was key. Enslaved people could hire out to work for wages at the harbor and factories and domestic workers. Some were allowed to keep a portion of their earnings that created a path, however, constrained for economic independence and eventually purchasing freedom. Frederick Douglass, right, again, wrote intensely about this. He said urban slavery gave advantages and literacy was more common. Skilled trades were acceptable. There was more in daily moment. Douglass himself learned to read in Baltimore and worked as a skilled caulker over in Fells Point. Someone was just talking about Fells Point over there. By 1830, Baltimore had over 17,000 free people of color, the largest in the United States. Many had purchased their freedom through the hiring out system or they had lived alongside enslaved people, sometimes in the same alley houses. This created a unique dynamic. Enslaved workers developing skills, earning wages, building networks with free black community members. It's why this neighborhood, Sharpland Hall, became a center for activity and institutions building, the proximity, the economic, and that was made resistant and community power possible. This what made it possible from that community. This what made the urban slavery possible because now it's, hey, you can work over here as a slave, you can kind of work on alongside of us, but we're going to help you through this church to get freedom. We're going to help you get your paper so you can get free, so you can buy your freedom from them. Because, hey, we over here free, you live with us, let's make sure we got you.
So that's what the church, the Sharp Leaden Hall Church, was like pivotal in helping people get their freedom papers.
Absolutely.
So what they would do, they would work and work and work until they was able to buy that freedom like that.
So basically, you would kind of go into this and you would work right alongside of the free slaves. I don't even want to call them slaves no more. They were free people.
Yes,
so you had the slaves and the free people, and in the midst of that, you had church. You know that we kind of congregated in the churches. And on that, what happened is, again, a conversation, right? Like, hey, what's going on with you? What's going on, man? You know, I'm still, eyes are tied to him. Well, let me help you. Let us help you get you out of that situation. Let us hide you. You know what I'm saying? You had a story of some Quakers that came and brought a house right across from the church. And not just himself. His name was Elisha something. I'm going to find it for you. And he built the house right across from the church. So, and also brought his kids a house next to the church. And what happened was now this is that funnel system. That's that knitting system. Because like, hey, if they come over here, they ain't really gonna bother me. But if they come and do all those things, guess what? We're gonna be able to hide you in one of these houses.
Okay.
So imagine how many people trying to flustering down into the community. Yeah, just like, hey, if we all running down there, you know, like I don't know where we ran to some days. You know, some people kind of like, I don't know, they went that.
I think we lost our brother. This conversation is so good. I always say when things like that happen, that's just Satan, honey. That's my grandma would say. That's just Satan. Don't pay him no mind. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving. And the brother, he'll be back. But he had mentioned a Quaker named Elijah that had brought and Quakers, in case you don't know, they were Caucasian people that did a lot of work and helped with freeing, you know, enslaved people. They were courageous, God-fearing people, because back then, not only would they recapture the slave, they would kill and lynch the daggone person that helped them. But you were mentioning about the house that the Quakers had brought across the street from the church to help to be able to funnel that and help to build a system of how do we get them free. And real quick, during my incarceration, I used to watch Maryland Public Television, and one day I was watching it, and they had a story on there about this white man that was a part of the Underground Railroad, and outside his house he used to hang. I guess they put the light there. That was to indicate that I'm a part of this train track, if you will, this railroad track number 9. But this railroad, if you will, he got caught. They sent him to court, and during his trial, instead of killing him or lynching him, they took all his money. The bank just they took all his money because he had the finances to help pay for them to have food, to have clothing, and to get to the next stop. But when they told the man, they say, "Do you have anything to say for yourself, sir?" He stood up. He said, "Yes. If there's any Negro that needs my help, I live at such and such and so and so." And I always say, boy, they're gonna kill him dead. I thought that was so courageous for him to say, "Well, I'm sorry, I won't do it again." He still said, if there's any person, black person, enslaved person that need my help, I live right down the street, knock on my door. So I thought that was pretty courageous.
And that community ally was Elisha Tyson, right? Elisha Tyson.
Elijah Titan. All right. I hope y'all taking notes when we sharing this information, so you can look it up and you can start putting the pieces together. History is amazing. History, and it will reward you. Do your research and you will be rewarded. I'm telling you. Elijah Titan.
Elisha. Remember Elijah and Elisha. Two of the Elijah passed went to heaven without a trace. Elisha took over. So Elisha.
Okay. Yeah, Sister Bennett said that they were landings in the window to signal where the network was. That was before we had phones. Say, yeah, boy, send them over here. Or I'm home. Let me take my alarm system and turn it off. I'm here.
That domino sugar our brother just talked about too, right? That domino sugar thing that's over there, the water, where they was getting the sugar cane from. Right? Where they was getting that sugar cane from. So if I'm bringing sugar cane over here and I'm going over there to get them, well, imagine how many people I brung with me. Imagine how many people I brung with me. So like those things are like, I know that's right here. Imagine how many people I'm gonna throw in this ship with me and say, "Come on, I'm taking y'all anyway," and we're gonna send y'all to Louisiana.
Work them sugar cane fields, because that was a popular crop as well. Yeah, Elisha Tyson.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Tasha. But when it comes to that, I never thought about it. Christopher Irvin, another good brother who's tuned in today. He always asks, "How do we let Domino Sugar just sit here right across this spot where they used to bring the slaves in? And why are we not connecting the dots? You got the sugar plantation right here in Baltimore. The same." Hey, Sister Ardelia Wilson, Southwest Baltimore, she tuning in. But we got this whole system. When you think about it, it looks like a big old plantation when you think about it. You got Domino Sugar sitting here. You got the harbor waters where the USS Constitution bringing the slaves in. And then you're making sure that they work the sugar plantations so that Domino Sugar can be filthy rich. Shit, I want some damn reparations. I'm about to write them a letter. I'm about to write Domino Sugar and trace all this history from South Baltimore. Sharp Leadenhall say, "Man, I think y'all owe me a couple of dollars for real." Man, that's something else. But I
want to read this, Monica, right quick, right?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
No time is winding down on us, right?
Yes, sir.
I was kind of just this morning, my morning stuff.
I know you get up and pray, amen.
Yeah, so it was just this thought was coming, and it was like, don't keep forgetting about Sharp Leadenhall. And you know that I stand firm on that we can't allow that, right? We can't allow that.
That's God.
And when you start thinking of it, it's like, whoa, like
there, don't forget. Don't forget when he said that, and of course I mentioned, my eyes get a little glossy because I get emotional about it. And it is it's such a heavy weight for a black child to grow up in this country and still feel the weight of hatred, racism, and discrimination. It's just I'm not a child, but I feel that stuff. And it's just and then when we learn all that we've already gone through, is it not enough? Mm. Have not the black man and woman suffered enough? And for no other reason except the color of your skin. You can just walk into a place and because you black end up dead. And that's horrible, man. And that's why I'm always praying for change and always praying for allies that's going to be good God fearing people like those Quakers to really work with us. Good morning, Rhonda Hall. To really work with black folks and people of color to help us come out of this wicked place. Go ahead there, brother. You was getting ready to read us something. I know you said your morning ritual, your little
Yeah,
morning prayer. Yeah, the brother pray. He might look rough around the edges, but he's a praying man. Go ahead.
as you said, don't. So before Baltimore was a city, this land held indigenous people. Before freedom was law, Shopland Hall held free black families. In the late 1700s, while slavery still existed, black people were here, built churches, schools, and burial societies, and protection for one another. This neighborhood helped birth Black Baltimore. As the city grew, Shopland Hall didn't disappear. It was pushed aside.
Mm.
Development, well, let's start with the highways, right? Highways cut straight through it. 95, 395 cut straight through the community. Development went right around it. And investment skipped over it. Families were displaced, resources dried up, and one of the oldest free black communities in America was slowly erased from the conversation. Now today, Baltimore is still talking about entertainment district, a connector from the casino to the stadium to the convention center to downtown. And once again, Shopland Hall sits right in the middle. So for centuries, this community has been something people pass through, but rarely something people invest in. Everything around it grows while the place, the land, the foundations keep being asked to wait. When Baltimore starts, South Baltimore is closest to the harbor. So Black life organizes there first. So Black lives, the life of a Black person organized in that area first, hands down. East Baltimore grows with the industry. West Baltimore comes later after the city expands and people move outward. Let's be clear, right? Shopland Hall didn't fail Baltimore, right? Baltimore failed Shopland Hall. Not once, but over decades. And yet, Monica, it's still here. The church still stands. The descendants are still live in the city. The history is still under our feet. So, as we talk about progress and connection and the future, we can't keep forgetting Shopland Hall. You can't celebrate downtown and ignore the people who built life beside it. You can't build a connector through the birthplace, Black Baltimore, and not invest in it. If Shopland Hall is in the middle of Baltimore's future, then it deserves to be at the center of Baltimore's care. Shopland Hall wasn't abandoned, it was pushed aside.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I tell you what, I'm gonna go and wipe my eyes. I'm not gonna be embarrassed. I'm not gonna be embarrassed about my feelings and how we watch developers, we watch politicians, we watch people who intentionally want to bury our cities, want to bury our history, and literally want to bury our people. We look and we like, man, that's a good idea. We get ready to get this in the harbor. Thank you, Mayor Schaefer. Mayor Schaefer that brought this in the harbor down here. And in the meanwhile, they have these designs and they call it urban development or urban planning. And whenever you see urban planning, whether it is in Georgia, whether it is in Alabama, Florida, Chicago, Detroit, whenever you see that, chances are These folks have designed plans to get rid of black communities. They run highways, Jones Falls Expressway. They got in West Baltimore the highway to nowhere. Black people used to live in them houses, the highway to nowhere. They took those people homes through eminent domain and replaced it with a daggone highway that goes nowhere. But that's what we see. And when we look and we see, man, I'm so glad we get ready to get this right here. We get ready to get a new entertainment facility. Just like you said, when they look at those maps, when they look at those maps and they say, oh yeah, well, we can just go ahead and take this highway right through here, take that through there and get rid of these. I was getting ready to say something, but I ain't gonna say that. But that's what they do. And it's such a heavy burden for people to bear when you have folks who every day they wake up and think about how can I destroy them and their children? How can I shoot this 9-year-old boy in the back and claim that he stole something from me? How can I take these juveniles and say that they came in my backyard and kill them? It's tough. It's tough to know that there are people, and that's every facet in the government, in the hospital. They had a Caucasian lady who just got arrested. She was breaking the bones of black babies in the NICU, babies who are not even that big. Google it, read it. She was breaking the bones of black children. And what's insane is that when somebody made the allegations, they say, well, we're going to suspend you while we do the investigation. While they were investigating, none of the children end up injured. None of the children were injured. And guess what they did? They let that white woman back on the job. And guess what she did? The baby started having their bones broken again. These hospitals, they allowed this woman to not only do that, but they found, oh, she didn't do anything. And she came back and did it again. What possessed you to take a 2-month-old baby, a black baby, and break his bones? The child never did nothing to you. He can't even talk. He's innocent. The Bible says we wrestle not with whatever, but we wrestle with principality and council. That is your government. That is your city leadership. Those are your representatives. And that's why I say all things lead back to policy. Who are going to look after us? Who will protect our babies when we can't? We have to rely on God-fearing people and people who don't look like us, unfortunately, in those spaces to step up and do the right thing. But guess what? When they don't do it, we got to do it for ourselves. We got to do it for ourselves. I know Brother Marlo always talk about let's help ourselves, and help need help too. So when you have organizations, when you have people doing work, take time out to volunteer with them. Give them $5. Leave that Starbucks alone. Give them $10. Show up. This is it for us. This is our last hoorah. This is it. And if y'all haven't gotten the signal yet, that God is trying to say, get it together. Get back on the right track. We cannot afford to keep going in the way that we are going. Think about your children. Think about your babies. Think about the future that MLK saw. There is a promised land for us, and I don't want it when I leave here. Shit, I don't know where I'm going. God might tell me hang a left. So I'm trying to build heaven on earth, like the ministers say. This is your heaven. Build heaven on earth, and it is for everybody. Some of y'all might hang a left. You might not be going right. But honestly, you know, it's just our time, and it's so emotional, and it's an issue that's close to me. I have some friends out in Montgomery County, Caucasian women. They are absolutely amazing. They help me with this legislative work that I do. They help me to move forward. And when I feel down, they help bring me up. They genuinely love me. They genuinely love me, and I love them. Matter of fact, I got my LOVE hat on because that's the only thing. You know, you ever heard that saying, love is the only thing? That's the truth. Love is the only thing that will bring us out of our situation. If you love yourself, number one, then you can love somebody else. You know what I mean? You got to love yourself first, and then you can give that love to another human being, regardless of their race, sexual identity, or whatever. But yeah, Sharp Lettenhall. The conversation is so much. We didn't even get a chance to even touch on a whole lot. I have a video that I wish I could send everybody out. I wanted y'all to see this video. It's like 9 minutes long, but my producers say that people might lose interest. They say, "No, we ain't gonna play that. That's too long." People's attention span isn't long. If you can't capture their attention in 3 seconds, like them TikTok videos. Hey, Sister Ardelia, thank you. Like them TikTok videos. Them TikTok videos get your attention and you just keep scrolling and scrolling till it's 4 in the morning. Because I know I do it sometimes.
And that what she's talking about is Sharp Letting Hard, a promise to keep. It was done some years ago. Some fine folks, our older saints in the community.
Amen. Oldest saints.
And yeah, the older saints in the community kind of took this fight and took it on. I'm here now. I got a lot of fire under me. God's Best Family is our organization. You can follow us on social media, all those platforms. God's Best Family. But that video Monica is talking about is Sharp Lit and Hard, a promise to keep. And you'll see once you watch it. But you'll hear about us some more. I got my steel toe boots and hard hat ready, so we fight, and we kind of claiming no more development down here unless you develop in Sharp Lit Hard or Solo Games, because
yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely appreciate you, Agent Sean. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We still got a few minutes, but before we go, I just want to go through this timeline real. Oh, Delegate Addison is here. Delegate Addison is showing up. She shows up on Saturday mornings for us. Thank you, Delegate Addison, for being here. Our Delegate Sean Stinnett also tuned in. He's here. Man, I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm glad you get to hear and see these comments from the community as you fight in Annapolis for us. Because it is the leadership, the political leadership, that will help us to achieve some of the things we need to achieve. Because when we think about it, and I said it on a previous show, if it wasn't for policy, those 9 little girls in Little Rock, Arkansas would have never integrated that school. It was so bad they had to have armed military to put them in that school. You would not be able to go to the school you go to. If you wouldn't be able to live here. I know some people who from the projects. They from the Jets. They from Murphy Homes, Lexington Terrace, from McCullough Homes. Some of them turkeys moved out to Pikesville and they highfalutin. They don't even ride through the city no more. They got a couple of generations now that was able to move out, and that was because of the civil rights era. They were able to move out into Baltimore County, and now they so daggone uppity, you wouldn't believe it. You say, damn, I know you just live in the projects. Don't act like that. But that's what happens when you have legislation and stuff passed that can benefit you to have freedom to live where you want, freedom, worship where you want, freedom to do things. But I'm going to give y'all this timeline before we go. Sharp Lettenhall, where freedom was forged in slavery's shadow. Hey, Kelly Sparks from Phoenix Suns. Hey, brother. 1789, first abolitionist society south of the Mason-Dixon line. 1797, look at the years now. 1797, first school for black children in America. The first school for black children in America was built in 1797 in Sharp Lettenhall. And you mean to tell me y'all can't build a school for your children? They built the school, they didn't hardly have nothing. Anyway, 1838, standing ground against a mob of 200. 1838, slavery was still in existence. Slavery didn't end technically until 1865. So in 1838, we had 200 people that standing their ground against this mob. 1867, founding what became Morgan State University. Yes, the Morgan State University was founded in Sharp Lettenhall. before they ended up over East Baltimore. These institutions have outlasted slavery, institutions that outlasted Jim Crow, institutions that outlast urban renewal. That's the term I wanted to use. Urban renewal. Urban renewal is that term they use when they want to disseminate and get rid of black communities. But this is definitely a subject that we will revisit. And, to me, it is only natural for a black woman to want her black community to thrive and survive. I don't think self-preservation is a bad thing. I don't think Caucasian people are wrong to want their communities to thrive and survive. But what happens is when you are hurting other people, when you are doing things that are against God to so-called preserve your survival, that is wrong. That is wrong. Because I expect all communities to want their children and their future to be bright. So it's not a bad thing to want those. It's not racism to want those things for your own black self and for your own black community. You know what I mean? So we are at 1:01. Anybody want to reach me? Anybody have any ideas for the show? I can be reached at info@Maryland Justice Project. Info@Maryland Justice Project. I can be reached there. As always, I got through it, Donnell. I didn't shed too many tears. I got through it, man. But it is these are tough subjects. It's difficult for me to talk about because I want the best for myself and for my people. I love me and I love us. I love all human beings. I love us. And yeah, we're going to talk more. This is Black History Month. So we're going to bring those things to you. And I do have a surprise for y'all. I'm not going to announce it just yet. Y'all are going to absolutely love it. It's going to be a wonderful surprise. And I'm glad that you took this hour to share with me. I love y'all. And I know you love me back. Hey, you got any closing words for us, brother?
No, just stay strong out there. Stay like we. This is our fight. We can't always go to other folks and tell them, kind of have them fighting for us. We have to take on this fight. We have to be the champions because we always get in the fight, as they say. But someone has to be the champion, and I think that this is our time to be the champion in this fight. So I'm ready.
Okay. And thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. I see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Track number 9. Stay on the right track. We're going to get there. God made that promise to me. And I'm telling y'all, we're going to get there. We got to just stay on the right track. Amen.
We inspire greatness at track number 9. Stay on the right track and let your light shine. Step by step, reach for what's true. Track number 9, your greatness is waiting for you.